Hello and welcome back. We are now on to chapter 4. So this is just going to be a short little introduction video just to kind of get you primed and ready to cover the 4 different groups of tissues that we'll be doing in the second week of the term. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So it's just really going to be this slide. I'm going to talk about just some general properties of each of the 4 categories, and then we'll have videos for each of those. So I'll have a mini lecture on epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, nervous tissue, and then I'll also have one at the end for kind of the pathologies of skin cancer and burns and how skin tissues repair itself. So first of all, I've identified already the 4 types. So we have epithelial tissue, connective, muscle, and nervous. And I alluded to those last week when we were talking about organization back in chapter 1, where similar cells come together to form tissues. Now they're adding into this one more component that we haven't talked about before, which is extracellular material and fluids. Now, not all cells have those, and thus not all tissues have those. So we'll see extracellular matrix and fluids and stuff more prominently in connective tissues than we will anything else. But we do want to know, kind of see where their place is. So cells, the basic unit of life, right? So you should have learned that back in your general bio. They secrete and regulate this extracellular material. Sometimes it's fibers, sometimes it's gel, sometimes it's solid, like in bone. And so they secrete that outside. So it's acellular. It is a product of cellular activity. And then together, the cells, and if there is this ECM, the extracellular matrix, they form the tissues with special functions. So first, epithelial tissue, just in general, it covers your exposed surfaces. So this could be, basically our main exposed surface is our skin, formed by our epithelium, which is made up of different types of epithelial tissue. We have lining internal passageways. So think of respiratory tract, the lining of your nose and mouth and throat and esophagus, trachea and bronchi, all the way down to your alveoli of your lungs. Digestive tract, so mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, all the way out to the rectum and anus. Urinary tracts, reproductive tracts, those are all lined by blood vessels, lymph vessels, those are all lined by epithelial tissues. And then lastly, epithelial tissues are modified. There are some forms of epithelial tissues that are modified to form glands. So endocrine glands and exocrine glands, we'll be talking about that in the epithelial video. The next group is connective tissue. So this is probably the most diverse of the categories because it ranges anywhere from the fluid like blood to the solid like bone with everything in between. So it fills internal spaces like a packing material. It provides structural support like bone and cartilage. It stores energy like adipose tissue. So it's a big grouping and also very diverse in its structures and functions. Then we have muscle tissue, which is unique to contraction. So it's really the only tissue that has the ability to actively get shorter. That's what contraction means. And there's 3 types. So skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. You can hear my cat playing in a box. She's being such a turkey today. So that's muscle tissue. And then lastly, we have nervous tissue, which is specialized for electrical impulses. So carrying signals, messages from one place to the next. So we see in the picture here, propagates electrical impulses and carries information. So that is our nervous tissue. And then collectively, tissues combine to form organs, and organs interact to make organ systems. So just reinforcing that levels of organization that we saw in the beginning of chapter 1. All right, so that's all I really wanted to talk about in just this introduction, is to just introduce you to the 4 types of tissues and kind of their general structures and functions, or general functions really. And then in the next subsequent videos, you'll be diving into more of the details of each of those groups of tissues. All right, I will see you then. Bye.